which is all about Baywatch, but not in the way you might think. A Norfolk charity which campaigns for the rights of drivers with disabilities has launched its annual Baywatch survey. Disabled Motoring UK wants people to check cars parked in disabled spaces at their local supermarkets to make sure they're displaying a blue badge. It wants to crack down on people who abuse those spaces and deny those with a legitimate reason the opportunity to use them. So let's find out a bit more about Baywatch, the idea behind it, how it's all going to work with Graham Footer, who is the charity's chief executive. Graham, thanks for joining us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Chris. Thanks for inviting me on.
It's a really interesting subject, this, isn't it? And I suppose you wouldn't be doing a survey like this unless you felt there was an issue. So how big a problem do you think that the misuse of these disabled parking bays is?
Well, annoyingly, it is a persistent problem, and that's really why we have to run Baywatch on an annual basis. This is really to highlight the abuse that goes on in supermarket car parks, and that's mainly down to the lack of car park management, certainly when it comes to disabled bays. So I think that we can ask the public to help us with this. It's very easy to do. You can find the Baywatch survey on our website, www.disabledmotoring.org. The campaign is live from today. It finishes on the 15th of August. And all we're asking people to do is when they go to their local supermarket, is to take a survey form with them. Takes about 5 minutes to complete. All we're really looking for is the name of the supermarket, the date and time that you visited, the number of accessible bays that are there, what the occupancy is, how many are actually being used, and how many vehicles actually display a blue badge. And also a supplementary question that we put in this year is asking about EV charging. Are there any accessible EV charging bays? Pressure is already on accessible parking. I mean, we've done some research, so we know that there are 52 blue badges for every disabled bay. So the pressure is already there to find accessible parking without the added pressure of abuse of accessible bays on top of that.
Yeah, why are you targeting supermarkets in particular? Because I know there are lots of other places you go, multi-storey car parks, other places like that also have disabled bays. Is it supermarkets where you think this is a particular issue?
It is, but it's part of a much wider blue badge scheme abuse, if you like. But we know from feedback from our members that supermarkets are particularly annoying when it comes to not managing their car parks properly. I mean, Chris, have you ever parked in a disabled bay yourself?
Not to my knowledge, no.
No, and the vast majority of the public know what the blue badge scheme is all about, and they respect the scheme, and they wouldn't park in a disabled bay. But actually, from research that's carried out, we know that 1 in 10 people have admitted to parking in a disabled bay, and the excuses are things like, oh, I was only going to be 2 minutes, or it was raining and I just wanted to use the cash machine, or my vehicle was too long to park in a standard bay. So I mean, I'm not making this up. These are all explanations that were given at parking appeals. So this happens on a daily basis. And when you think about the pressure that's put on accessible parking, when people abuse those bays, it has a real effect. And let's not forget that accessible bays are there. They're not a nice to have. They're an absolute essential for disabled motorist blue badge holders, just so that they can go about their daily lives. And it's such a shame when the scheme and the bays are abused.
When you asked me whether I'd ever done it there, Graham, for a minute I thought you had something on me there, but no, thankfully you haven't. No, that's good to know. One thing I want to be clear on is the idea of Baywatch. About tackling drivers, you're not asking people to do that, are you? Because that is where you can get yourself into some quite difficult situations sometimes, can't you? Because we all know that not all disabilities are visible, and you're not asking people to tackle drivers personally about this, are you?
No, no, please, certainly not. No, we're constantly reminding our members not to do that, because you really don't know who you are challenging. Part of Baywatch is about public attitudes towards Blue Badge, and what we're finding is people with non-visible disabilities, hidden disabilities, um, is that they do come under some quite extraordinary verbal abuse when they use their blue badges. And if I can just tell you about one situation that I heard about, I talk to blue badge holders as part of my job every day, and they usually want to tell me a blue badge story, and some of them are really shocking. Um, I I can remember a young lady that came up to our stand when we was exhibiting at an event, and she said that she had suffered horrific verbal abuse because she didn't look disabled. She was young and slim. In actual fact, she had a very, very serious condition, and she was actually waiting for a lung transplant. So she was a legitimate blue badge holder, but every time she tried to park her car, she would get abused because people, members of the general public, didn't think that she was a genuine blue badge holder. And it does make you think, why are people doing this? Well, they are doing it because they know that there is no enforcement taking place, no management taking place. So they decide to police it themselves.
Just finally, Graham, when you do these surveys, and you say it's an annual survey, presumably you then go to the supermarkets with your results and say, look, this is what we're finding in your disabled parking spaces. What sort of a response do you get?
Well, it's quite strange actually, because once we collate all of the information, we actually publish it, so you can see which supermarkets are doing well and which supermarkets aren't doing quite so well. And the supermarkets suddenly pay attention to this, but what we find is over time it usually regresses back to to state normal, so to speak. And it's only when we highlight the issue that anything's done. But Baywatch keeps this matter on the agenda, and that's the important thing, so it doesn't slip off. And it focuses attention for a short period of time, which makes a lot of the supermarkets sit up and listen.
So, Graham, thanks for joining us. Just if people want to know more about this and find one of the forms you're talking about, just give us the web address again.
Sure. So it's www.disabledmotoring.org.
Okay, thanks for joining us. Graham Footer there, who's the Chief Executive of Disabled Motoring UK, a Norfolk charity, and they want you to join in with Baywatch. To reiterate, they're not asking you to go and tackle any drivers about their parking habits. It's next time you're at the supermarket, take one of these forms with you, have a look at the disabled parking spaces and see how many of the cars are actually displaying the blue badge that they should be. That is the message from Disabled Motoring UK. He said there, everybody has got a blue badge story, so what's yours? Share them with us. Maybe you've had a blue badge, got a blue badge, and you share the frustration of trying to park, or perhaps you've seen them being misused, or those spaces being misused the other way. What's your experience on this? 0800 389 7321 is our number. Drop us a text with your stories, 81333. Start with the word Norfolk, or on WhatsApp, 08000 321 333. Start with the word Norfolk.
On